ahead and zoom in on the moon set right now and the sunrise that's happening at the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve here in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Let me just swing that around there. I've got a lot of video that I've shot of this area with my P1000 and P900 video cameras, photo and video I've done out here. And what I wanted to do as well is go ahead and talk a little bit about what I did yesterday, but the sound quality was terrible on the video I shot yesterday. It was a live stream and the MV88 I was using did not work so good. So this is the Russell Burgess Coastal Preserve, and so the Prince Resort is on the other side of that tree. Now we can see it. I've done a lot of video there, and the Cherry Grove Pier is in front of that. There's the moon in the middle of the view. The sun, moon, and stars move above a stationary level Earth. It's not really flat. If it were flat, I'd be swimming right now. Most of the Earth is covered with water. Apparently that's the story. That's what I've seen. And the Earth is obviously not spinning, wobbling, and gyrating over 1,000 miles an hour supposed rotation. It's the sun, moon, and stars that move above the stationary and level Earth. I've got the new Truthmobile. It's a Toyota Prius, a 2008. It's a hybrid, and it harvests the slowing down energy, puts it in a battery, and then gets me going again. And the engine turns off at the intersections, or when I don't need the propulsion, the energy from the engine, and it's wonderful. I'm averaging about 50 miles to the gallon. I've got this up here for the red light cameras and the eyes in the sky. The Bible.com is God's Word in many languages, and Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. I hope you know Him. I do. I'm actually born of the Spirit, grateful to be a child of God that has been given the upgrade of the presence and power of the Holy Spirit. So that's one of the reasons why I do this. I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. Apparently, I was given an invitation to the Illuminati and I declined, not interested. I've got probably Alexandra is doing a great job on my top of my playlist right now, exposing the mind game. You can find that on my channel if you like, as long as it's there. If you like videos, what you can do is click the like feature on whatever channel you're on. If you're on my channel, I've got thousands of different content creators that are located in my playlist. I've done that so that when there's a copyright strike or a community standard violation, my channel isn't just taken down because of that. So I use other people's created content to tell the story that I can't tell with my own mouth and my own created content. And yes, I'm still spitting out mucus that's trapping nanoparticulate that is being sprayed on us like bugs. There's people in weather modification technology that I'm disclosing on my channel, as well as the truth about everything. How about that? It's a pretty bold statement. I've been accused of being a shill. Sounds like a shill would say something like that. That's what I was told. And what I also say is, if you believe I've got something wrong, you can go ahead and call me. Send a link and a message, direct message if you want, on a variety of platforms. On my phone is probably one of the most effective ways because I have it with me all the time. It comes right to my phone number. We're all being tracked, traced, database, threat assessed, and all that, right? Okay, so spinning back around here, the system knows where we are, how fast our phones are traveling, who they're next to or not next to, who we're hanging out with. I get a lot of interesting calls. I was out until about midnight last night. Oh wait, and then I was up about 2:30 today. How about that? 62 years old, conceived 62 years ago in January, or a little earlier, before my parents were married. That's the way it happened. And the other thing that I was going to say is that I feel better than ever. And that's just amazing for a guy my age to feel better than ever. Well, I'm not poisoning my body with substances to affect my cognitive function. Drugs, what I would say is reality is for those that can't handle drugs. I'd be one of them. Okay, so I did another video at Costco yesterday. I had the Truth shirt on and walking around in the Costco. Then I can go ahead and see people. They can see me and decide maybe they want to talk to me, maybe not so much. It can be like a magnet that either attracts or repels people. That's what the truth does. By nature, the truth is divisive. Now, if I was over on the beach there, the line of sight would be interrupted by that hotel. That's why Leonard is over here taking shots from this location. Here he is. He does calendars and beautiful photos out here. So a lot of times I'll see people taking a picture of my car when I'm looking in my rear view mirror. Or I had a lady pull up next to me. This was before I had Truth on the side of my car. She said, "What's your YouTube channel about?" I said, "The Truth about everything." She said, "Oh shit, I got to check that out." I said, "You'll need to type my name in a search, because that's the way that works out, is there's shadow banning, and if you Google my name with the hashtag, that's where you'll be able to see it." Now, I know I'm taking a lot of video here of the car, so what I can do is bring that up on my computer and then go ahead and take I can take a picture of the video, and that works out good. I wanted to get some video, like I'll do it right now. I'm gonna try and give myself something I can take a picture of. That's pretty cool. All right. Notice how just moving a little bit changes how that looks. It's just the way it is. Yeah, if we were spinning 1,000 miles an hour, shit would be flying everywhere. For all the Globers in the group that believe we're still living on a spinning, wobbling, gyrating water ball hurling through space, anybody that believes that is deceived on that matter. It doesn't mean they're deceived on everything. It's just not looking good. I encourage everybody to seek the truth with all your heart, because that matters for eternity. Well, where will you spend forever and why? Okay, so I had an interesting call that happened last night after an interaction on Main Street. They wanted to know what I knew about the Illuminati. I said I've got documentation on my channel about that, and I thought I would put some of them towards the top, which I did. And then I met some gentlemen, maybe the same ones that called me, I'm not sure. They were from Colorado, and his dad works with Panasonic and provides batteries for the Teslas. I've met people that work with Oldcastle Real Estate or Investments, similar to BlackRock and Vanguard as far as worldwide ownership of so much. So can the system of mind control put it on somebody's heart to come on out here to visit this area? Absolutely. Absolutely. Recommended video vacations and price discounts and all kinds of methodology to incentivize traveling here. And I'm not saying that it's just sending people here to meet me. They could send somebody here to try and shut me the heck up. A lot of videos taken out of my research library, over 1,000 since the heavy censorship of 2019 started up. Specifically, the Stanley Meyer water car video, the highest viewed one that I have, a couple of them were taken out of my channel, including the video that I put together showing how hydrogen can be synthesized from water, oxygen and hydrogen, and then fed into an engine or a Bloom box fuel cell on a vehicle. So a real-time hydrogen generator. And I know people will talk about, oh, there's not enough energy density. Actually, water is one of the greatest storehouses of hydrogen and oxygen in the world, and it covers the face of the earth. And then there are those that would say, you can't get more energy out than you put in. It violates laws of thermodynamics. And I would say, okay, what about coal? What about oil? What about natural gas? You've got an investment in the mining of it and in the refining it and then the distribution of it, and then you put it in cars in the case of gasoline or diesel for some cars, and then coal we've got in the creation of electricity. That's one of the dirtiest parts of our economy, is generating electricity out of coal, when in fact it can be done with water. Because when you combine oxygen and hydrogen together, you can move turbines to make electricity. Hello, and it's all available. Well, the power structure of the world does not want that, because they want control and they want your soul to go to hell with them. The demonic leaders of this world are following their father, the devil, Satan, to carry out his bidding. Jesus, when he was talking to the scribes and Pharisees, says to everybody forever and always, you can't hear me because you're of your father, the devil. He's saying that to all of Satan's children. And he, being the all-knowing, all-powerful creator that took up human flesh and dwelt among us, he knew who they were. Now, in Ephesians 2:11, God's word, as inspired and drafted by men, but it was inspired by the Almighty, Ephesians 2:11 says, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a strong delusion. So the people that don't love the truth are going to be deceived, because God is going to make that happen for them. He's going to give them what they want: deception and lies. People that practice lies, deception, and falsehood apparently are the children of the devil. There's a battle between good and evil, and people get all ill about saying who's who. I would say, well, you're going to need divine intervention to figure that one out. See how that light beam is stretching across the water and getting closer and closer to the grass, to the marsh? It'll keep on doing that. It's like a laser beam in the sky, shooting directly towards the eyes of the observer, which can be the camera. You're not actually seeing the sunrise, you're seeing a digital capture, recreation, transmission and recreation of that in this whole setting right here. That's me blowing high-tech nanotechnology out of my mucus, trapped by my mucous membrane. Well, that sounds pretty gross, Robert. Yeah, well, I would rather have it out than in. When that technology hits the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, it becomes assimilated in the body. I would rather have healthy nutrients that are turned into proper functioning brain chemicals, norepinephrine, dopamine, oxytocin, all kinds of serotonin, all kinds of the brain goodies that some people try and activate artificially with poisons like alcohol. Any alcohol at all consumed is going to impair cognitive function throughout the life of the individual as long as that has rewired the brain. The Almighty can help overthrow that or fix that. What I would say is there's a protection that I have and all of God's children have as we obey. Obey because what he says to me is don't poison yourself. In fact, healthy nutrients, healthy fats and electrolytes are really important. So when I'm bathing in my highly purified carbon filtered reverse osmosis bathing water, I have to heat up about a third of it on the stove, which is about 15 gallons or 10 to 15 depending on how big of a bath I have. And then I have a ground wire from the electrical system in my house running into the tub. And then I add powerful electrolytes, a tablespoon of each of the following: lemon juice, apple cider vinegar, boron, which is borax. You can find it in your laundry area of a Walmart perhaps, baking soda, magnesium sulfate, which is Epsom salt, and then a very important part to make sure that the water is free of any parasites. I'll add 7 drops of each of the 2-part chlorine dioxide, and I'll put a little bit of that water that I've mixed those other elements in. Before I dump it in the bathtub, I'll add a splash of that to the water, a shot of it that I'll drink in that same dilution as well, because it kills parasites, and that's really important. So there you go. I can also harvest water from the dripping of the climate control system, and I could drink that. I could feed it back into a HHO generator that I feed into my engine, or into a fuel cell. All of this technology exists. There's technology that Troy Reed discovered and implemented. He had a little car, you can see it, where it had a regular 12-volt battery and a big electrical motor / generator that he could drive around, and they killed him. You can see Troy Reed and the documentary about him. Stanley Meyer, you can hashtag his name. You can hashtag my name. Find a lot of amazing information. So what I was saying about the oil and natural gas and that, you've got an investment to harvest it, drill a hole in the ground and refine it. But here, I'm going to make a little water right here. How about that? Well, I didn't make it. I just got rid of it. And those powerful electrolytes, that mucous membrane, Works great as a shaving lotion. Oh, sounds gross. Yeah, it works. It works great. Gives me that youthful appearance. And apparently, I want to have you consider something. Google/23andMe was really eager to have everybody's saliva, and saliva isn't necessarily the mucus that comes out of the sinus passages that is really close to the brain. What are they looking for? What do they want to know? Well, apparently they can create specifically engineered electronic weapons that can be fed through the power grid, through the Wi-Fi. There's a water tower. See it right through there? Water tower that's also a cell tower. So I've got videos that talk about the bioweapons that they can feed through the power lines, electronic weapons that can manipulate our emotions and the hormones in our body and all of that. Isn't that interesting? Wow, Robert, that sounds crazy. Well, I understand that we're presented a lot of truth drops in the movies and a lot of deception on the news. Look at how that small amount of cloud just blocks that right out. Wow, it would be daylight everywhere if the earth were flat. Well, it's not really flat. It's just that we've got clouds, humidity, and all of that. And by the way, NASA doesn't always lie. Neither do the governments of the world. They've got very powerful mind control technology to go along with their assertion that they're giving you the truth. How about that? They're liars. They're lying, and I ain't buying. Who's they? Well, Satan and all those that are deceived. Because I was part of perpetuating the global lie to our homeschooled sons. Yeah, how about that? Well-meaning individual, as far as I thought. I found out why I struggled so much with the flesh. It's because that's all I had. I thought I was born again in 1982 until I actually was in 2014. What a difference. So now I have the presence, power, and protection and direction of the Holy Spirit. That's a good thing to have when there's a huge body count around the censorship and the censored topic of the truth in my research library. That's what I'm talking about, is that they've been silenced. People that promote health and wellness naturally through nutrition and avoiding the toxic in substances that are placed in our food, water, air, and electronics. Naturopaths, they like to kill them or silence them by any means. I'm putting the system in a bit of a bind because if it's obvious that a hit was put out on me and carried out, it just means that God was ready for me to go home. Which God? Well, the one that is the way, the truth, and the life, the great I am. The Alpha and Omega, knowing the end from the beginning. How about that? So not only does he know it all, he controls it all, and apparently he allows a lot of wicked people to do evil and wicked people to carry out what they want to do. There's some mystery with that. How does that work out? When a child or an animal is abused, does he just protect them from that horror? Some people that have been abused actually come to realize the love and grace of the Almighty, and he changes them. Survivors of abortion. There's a young lady, well, she's not a young lady anymore. She was, there was a botched abortion on her, and the doctor that was providing the abortion actually had to sign on her delivery certificate. I don't know if I don't believe that video is on my channel anymore. I believe it was taken down. Oh, by the way, Community Motors, right in the neighborhood that I live in, Little River or Longs, South Carolina. It's real close to both. I'm not sure exactly which is the address they use, but it's right around the corner from where I live. God provided this vehicle so I could get around more. And when I park this somewhere, especially when I'm like leaning on the car next to the sidewalk in Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, people come over and they want to talk to me. And they may love and hate what I'm about. That's good. That's the way it works out. There's not a whole lot of middle ground on the truth. People love and hate the truth. They may believe it's a lie. And that's part of, so the people, when I say I'm exposing the truth about everything, well, that's a really proud thing to say, real presumptuous of you. Well, I don't know it all. I know who does. He lives in and through me and all of his children that are born again now. And then ultimately he will take up residence in all of his children before they actually die. Or that's the way that works out. It's the illusion of choice as well. You can look up the doctrine of election, also known as predestination, and that explains it. So the Most High is all-powerful and all-knowing. That's an osprey looking for a little meal. We may see him dive for it too. So sometimes I'm adding and removing or moving around videos in my research library, and then the artificial so-called intelligence is thoughtful enough to go ahead and remove some of it for me. I say that tongue-in-cheek. I would rather be the one to decide that. However, the system of control of this world, the God of this world, is wicked, evil, and so are his children and the fallen angels. I'm exposing all that, the nature of that. I thought you should know. So I can barely see the moon now. Let's see if I can zoom in enough so you can maybe see it. It's right over the top of that corner of that building. Very slight. So when I park this car at the Costco, right by the fueling station, and I leave it there and I go in and pick up a couple of items, well, people are filling up their cars and they've got an opportunity to see that car there and drive by and get the information off the car if they like. It's actionable information. So what is the truth about whatever you want to know about? Well, the reality exposes that on every situation. And that's why I encourage people, invite people to send me content that will expose anything that they've found out that they think I should know or you think I should know about. I believe that's a pretty cool way of doing it. Now, the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars document that's in my research library actually will it has over 370 hyperlinks in the comments, which allow a whole bunch of expression of freedom of speech that's not allowed on YouTube. So that's why I did that. That was my work around that. Let's see, I'm going to hold it a little bit different. I like to have, so I have a little spit cup too that I add a little bit of water to, so it is easy to just dump out when I want to. I can be riding around with the windows up and just put that spit in there. Now, notice how the light beam is coming over like that. Yeah, I wanted to get my Ray-Bans on. I don't always wear them. I know some people think I shouldn't wear them at all. People believe a lot of things. Some say that a lot of harm can happen if you get too much direct sun in the eye. Well, that's true too. There's a combination of that. Sometimes I wear them, sometimes I don't. They do cover up my crow's feet from excessive sunlight exposure. I'm okay with that. So the cure for cancer is known and the cause of cancer is known. I've got it in my research library. You can check it out. My mom told me about 30 years ago, Bobby, if the cancer doesn't get you, the treatment will. I'm a little put off that they killed my mom with cancer treatment after the system caused her cancer. How about that? They polished off my dad in 2017 when he ran out of items to liquidate. He had a huge financial portfolio, a Porsche, a Lexus, house on the hill, a lot of cool stuff. I got a screwdriver out of the deal and priceless memories. The screwdriver I have is a Phillips screwdriver. I worked on mini bikes and that as I was growing up as a boy. I could take engines apart and put them back together. Motorcycles, snowmobiles, that kind of thing. My dad taught me a lot. He didn't have long-term care insurance to take care of him when he was put in a long-term care facility, so they adjusted his meds when he ran out of money and stuff to pay for his accommodations, and then he died. I have a video that he's in the car telling me, yeah, they're going to adjust my meds, and 2 weeks after he told me that, he was dead. And then I found a video that explained how that was very common because my brother and I, William Forsh, who worked as a Hollywood makeup artist on the Terminator, doing the original makeup for the Terminator. He worked on Star Wars with Harrison Ford. He did the makeup for Freddy Krueger. We're like from different families. Apparently he's one of Satan's children, unless he's eventually born of the Spirit. That's what I would like to see. But back to the alienated family members and a third-party administrator of the liquidation of assets, it's very common that when that situation exists, that when the funds run out, apparently the clock of life runs out for the individual that's receiving those proceeds or that care. So the system right now, there's a correlation between what's been happening in our world in the last few years and the trials of Nuremberg and the Nuremberg Code, and you can see that in a link in the Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. If you hashtag that in a Instagram comment, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, there's over 34,000 results of that. I started doing that years ago when there were very few results for that, and I've just been building on that over and over and over. And you should see the new Truthmobile there, as well as access to my research library, which has millions of tentacles reaching all around this, this cloud of the internet. All of our there's actually a digital clone of this base reality. I believe we're living in a base reality, and there is a digital clone of it. And then there are many potential outcomes that are being modeled by quantum supercomputers. So when I wave to the Teslas, I'm not just waving to the person piloting the car or the occupants of it. I'm also waving to the supercomputer that's operating the robot program, the full self-driving. I've sent Elon Musk my research library. When he said, now that we've got Twitter, what should we do with it? I said, expose the truth about everything. Some people don't like that I interact with him and want to help him to know the truth. I want to see everybody know the truth and be set free like me. That's why I do this. That's why I was created, is to know and expose the truth about everything. And to have the cojones, or the fearlessness of doing this. I shouldn't fear Satan and his evil hordes, his children and fallen angels. I should fear the Most High, who can send the body to hell after the body stops working, can send the soul to hell after the body dies. I don't have to be worried about any of that. It's not a performance-based salvation. I'm not saved because of what I do or what I don't do. I was saved, my name was put in the Lamb's Book of Life before the foundation of the world, well before I tried all my own effort and said, hey, I need some help here. Can you put my name in the Lamb's Book of Life? That was done before the foundation of the world. How about that? I hope yours is there. There are people listening to me that love and hate me in what I'm about, in what I do. Excellent. It's good to upset the right people and to help people laugh. I'm here, so let me be clear. I'm here to comfort the afflicted and, how would we say, afflict the comfortable, or those that are living a life of their own self-effort and self-pleasure and propulsion. I want to help them realize that there's more to life than meets the eye. When this body stops working, there's soul that goes to live for eternity in a location. Accommodations for God's children, or the Most High God, the Almighty's, or Satan's children. Where will you be forever, and why? Notice how that light beam is coming on closer, and just the way that looks. One of the things that I carry around with me, I think is pretty cool. It's actually designed to help level a post. It's a bubble level. You can level a motorhome or expose the global eye with something like that. You could use a machinist level. I've got friends that work with artificial intelligence, robotics, and believe we live on a spinning, wobbling, gyrating water ball, and God is a fairy tale, and taking experimental cures for cancer. And I said, there's options, man. You don't need to be poisoning yourself with that. Anyway, he's going to do what he's going to do, and I'm not in control or responsible for what he or you or anybody else does. Isn't that special? I'm so grateful for that. Can you imagine the burden it would be believing that people are in hell because of what I did or didn't do? That's not anything I need to even worry my pretty little head about. I can just trust that Jesus is large and in charge. He knows exactly what he's doing, and people are going to either be in heaven or hell because he determined that before the foundation of the world. You may not like that or agree with it. Well, is it true? Could be. I believe it is. Good morning. So she's out for a run. That, you know what? That looked like a biological woman to me. It had the bones, she had the bone structure, the nice pretty smile, and all of that. Could I be wrong? What is a woman? Well, a woman is an adult human female. What is a man? An adult male human. There's either or. There's not an in between or yet to be determined. You can change the plumbing and padding, and it doesn't change the identity that way. So that's the way that is. It's unpopular. I'm exposing the transpocalypse, which involves transgendering and transhumanism. You can see all about it. I follow many of the architects of AI in robotics. Some of them actually follow me. Imagine that. On Twitter, you could check it out. And on YouTube, I've got like 4,600 subscribers or so. I can only see about a fourth of who they are. The other percentage is hidden to me and everybody else. Certainly the alphabet agencies are interested in what I talk about. Oh, by the way, all the intelligence gathering, the tracking, tracing, databasing, threat assessing is not just by like Mark Zuckerberg or Sundar Pichai or the executives that work at the Alphabet. Google is owned by Alphabet. Hello, CIA, FBI, NSA. They're tracking, tracing, databasing, threat assessing all of us, and then modeling what the system believes we're going to do. Hypergaming humanity. Yes, I'm built for this kind of thing. I could do a monologue. I could do a dialogue with people that are exposing this in their powerful documentaries. That's why I collaborate with all these talented individuals exposing this reality. It works great. So she's coming this way, and I'll just back up a little bit so you can see it. Not creeping on her, just help you to take a look and make your own call, what you think. Running a different route. And women have babies, and apparently there can be human cloning and incubators and a throuple from, let's see, where are we looking? From San Francisco. 3 men decided to have a baby, so they took DNA components of those 3 men and created a science project. How about that? Will it have a soul? Perhaps. I would think so. I would think so. I don't know what I don't know. Neither do you. I'm good with that. I don't have to know everything. That'd be a lot to handle. Too much. So, like when I'm parked here, the line of sight, people will be looking when they drive by. Come on in here, take a drive around. Now, here's a couple of things I wanted to mention about the Toyota Prius. I've got a 2,000 watt pure sine wave inverter that I can power like freezers and appliances, power tools, and all of that off of the large battery that goes into the 12-volt battery in the back of the car. And I've got a video that shows how a gentleman connected it, and you can see that. There there's about 220,000 miles on this vehicle. The gentleman who I talked to at the dealership that I bought this from has a friend that has almost 500,000 miles on his Prius with the original hybrid main battery still functioning just fine. So people would make fun of this car on comedies and that. It's got a slipstream or a energy, let's see, what would we call it? A drag coefficient of, I believe it's 2.6, which is like a race car. It's one of the most efficient designs going through the air, especially at a price point that I could afford. Oh, I know what I'm going to show you. I haven't put it on this video yet. I sent a shirt like this to Elon Musk, where the Cybertruck was on the front, and then I had myself photoshopped in the Roadster. It's photoshopped because it has to be. Now, I sent this out to him about 3 years ago. It was in 2019, right before a whole bunch of censorship started up. See how the reflection is? Is it a mirror or a window? It's actually both. It depends on lighting and the position of the viewer, depends on perspective, all of that. This is a sea level liquid mirror. When I was out on the beach on Saturday night for the king tide, there were babies learning to walk and trying to pick their feet up when the parent was wanting to set them in the waves to get the feet wet. And then there was a group that was dispersing the ashes of somebody who was cremated. It was a rather somber setting, and it was over in front of the Prince Resort, right there by the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier. So people reflect off the water, they reflect on their lives, past, present, future. It's one of the main reason why I'm here in this area is it is a mission field that comes to me. It comes to all of us that are living in this area. I interact with the locals, the guests, the alphabet agencies that come and visit me and come to vacation here. When some people might say, oh, you're kind of paranoid. You really think they care about you? You believe we live on a flat earth? Well, it's not really flat. I'm just exposing the truth about everything. We've got elevation above and below sea level, so it's not really a flat earth. Biblical cosmology is a stationary and level earth. You can't have level on a rotating object, and we don't have upside down people in relationship to us. Upside down cranes and wind chimes and people walking upside down in relationship to me and you. Does that make any sense at all? No, because it's a lie. And there's a powerful mind control technology that works along with that lie to cause people to believe it. Yep, that's how it is. See how the edge of the, oh, look at that. Hi, how are you? So what's happening is the tide is coming in. It's going to be high tide here in a couple hours. So one of the things that I encourage people to do is call me. If you've got a question, if you want to talk about something that you don't want to be public knowledge, you're just curious about what I believe about it, you can call me. I'm not going to disclose your identity. I won't do that. I'm not going to dox anybody, say where you live and what your name is and all that. What I will relate is sometimes people tell me stories and I don't disclose so much as it discloses their identity. On the matter of public figures, I interact with them in the context that I'll send them a part of my research library, which is the playlist that I've put together. And when I say I'm covering the truth, I'm exposing the truth about everything, that is a challenge, and it involves different platforms and content that a lot of other people have created in addition to me talking about it, and being an advertisement, let's say, for exploring what the truth actually is, because it matters for eternity. Some facts and the truth about some topics are really not that big of a deal. However, sometimes they are. It's those times where it's important to know what the reality is. So when Jesus Christ made the proclamation that he says to everybody forever, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father but through me. It takes less than a day to hear the entire New Testament. I've done it thousands of times because I want to. It's not only what I'm hearing that's so encouraging and beneficial, it's also what I'm not listening to in maybe my own stinking thinking or the deception that's being perpetrated on humanity. There she goes again. She's running this away. The hip to waist ratio, the skull size, all of those are key features. The Matt Walsh did a video, What is a Woman? Powerful reality. And Elon Musk shared it and said every parent should see this. It's an issue near and dear to his heart because he has a child is going through some gender dysphoria. I hope that all works out. Can you imagine having a disagreement in parenting with your ex-wife and your child, your family involved, and for the whole world to watch it? Well, between Justine Musk and Elon Musk, that's going on. I'm not hating on Elon Musk. I believe that he's being utilized by the world government to implement technology and be a spokesperson for that technology. Saying, hey, you might want to rethink this a bit. That exterminator or extinction level event with technology, with AI, the Terminator, I'll be back. Yeah, it's a real thing, and there will be a new heaven and a new earth. The big question is, where will you spend forever and why? Who's your daddy? So I've got 3 biological sons, and we had a daughter who miscarried about 20 years ago, and that was painful. About 22 years ago, actually. And so there's pain that comes from that. That's okay. It's okay to have emotional pain. What's not okay is, as a response to that, I'm not going to drift into a bottle or into a drug addiction to try and manage that, even if it's created by one of the pharmaceutical giants and they say it's okay. Are you feeling a little down? Well, maybe you're a little short on opioids. No, I'm good. No, I don't. I'm not even going to say no, thank you. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say hell no. I got off of antipsychotics with the help of the Almighty. He's the one that made it possible and helped me to use electrolyte enhanced drink to do it. Water I drink and water I bathe in. And part of what I bring to this discussion is a desire to know the truth from a very young age. And I did a tour of duty in the land of deception, believing the lie and many lies. And that's why I would say that divine intervention is required to love and believe the truth, let alone find it. How are you going to navigate through all the deception? There's a veritable kaleidoscope of conspiracy theories to hide the true conspirators and what they're doing and how they work. And I'm being involved to pull back that veil of deception and have you take a look at it. Because in my research library, you're going to need divine intervention to figure it out. Maybe you already have figured a lot of it out. Like I say, if you believe I've missed something, go ahead and put it in a comment. Send me a link if you want to. Give me a call. If you think I've got something wrong, you could let me know that too. I don't mind. There may be something I may need to learn about. I learn every day new stuff, new information. So part of the discussion was when I went to the first Flat Earth International Conference, we don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. Well, hello, it's just water seeking its level. That's what it does. It fills the container of the stationary level Earth. You can take a look at the height of the wetland here as it fills up. Let me zoom in on this last little bit of clam bed that's going to be covered up. And I've done videos that are rather extended videos of heavy equipment with high-powered zoom videography with the P900 and P1000 cameras on the beach, and the birds and the pelicans and the people. And then in my Facebook photo album, I showed some of the events of 9/11 that are not possible or not as we were told. And a lot of the proof, the video proof of the events of 9/11 of 2001 have been removed. I've got a friend that puts flags out and celebrates 9/11, so we remember that group mind control event that was a false flag event that was perpetrated on humanity. Yeah, a lot of people died. In fact, more people died in the war on terror after the events of 9/11 of 2001. A lot of innocent men, women, and children created by the military or the military-industrial complex of the world. And the United States is one of the creators of much of that. My dad sold high-performance steel alloys to Oshkosh Truck, Manitowoc Engineering that created tunnel boring machines, and Oshkosh Truck created some really powerful military platforms that were electric and powered by a diesel generator. Big electric motors that were powered by a diesel generator. So in 2005, when I was recovering from my near-fatal suicide attempt, the Toyota Prius had been developed and deployed on humanity. I called them at corporate and I said it'd be a great idea to have solar panels on the roof. And then I proceeded, when I was sitting at a coffee shop, to say, hey, we could have a fully electric semi with regenerative braking on the wheels. An electric semi with regenerative braking on the trailer of the semi and the tractor. Well, in 2005, where was Elon Musk and J.B. Straubel and the original founders of Tesla were all working together and working on an electric car. And I remember seeing the EV1 and actually sad, and it was pathetic to see what happened with the electric car. We have technology with that you can see in my research library that each car can be its own power generator that could even power your house. How about that? And you could have a large stationary version of that magnetron that powers the vehicle and actually have it in your home. How about that? Well, the power companies don't want that, and neither does the world elite as they are known by many, the cabal that's ruling the world, the beast system. And they don't want that for humanity. And they want a lot less people. So I'm exposing the worldwide genocide that's going on. I'm talking about it. How about that? Did you know that that's going on? Can you Nuremberg Code? See, there's going to be this evil that continues to reduce the population, and then finally God is going to say, well, that's enough. I'm going to go ahead and finish it off. In 2 Peter, you can hear God's word explain that there's going to be a fire. He's not going to destroy the earth with a flood next time. We got the rainbow. It's a different rainbow than the Pride, those promoting the month of Pride present. It's going to be the original rainbow that apparently is reflecting off of the optics of the firmament that you can see in Genesis 1. There's going to be a fire in the destruction of this earth that's so hot it's even going to destroy the elements. Well, the water is combustible when it's molecularly disassociated. You've got oxygen and hydrogen. And in the case of salt water, you've got a lot of elements that are in there as well. What are they all? It's quite a blend. We've got a biosphere. Yeah, there's a dome, so that's a hemisphere above us. And what does the underside of the stationary level Earth look like? I don't exactly know. I'm okay with not knowing. I just know you can't have a pressurized atmosphere without having a container, like a can of hairspray or spray paint. You got to have if you're going to have a vacuum of space that they talk about, you got to have a barrier, a container. I'll call it the firmament because that's what the Bible calls it. So the Bible is true, and it exposes the global lie and scientism for what it is, a very sophisticated technological mind control program that involves technology that's coming out of the TVs, the wired and the wireless grid, the mesh network of our control grid that we live in. Wow. So how do I do it? Well, by the leading and the power of the Holy Spirit, the protection of the Holy Spirit. It's awesome. So I'm not responsible for the results of what people do with the information I put out. What I am responsible for is my obedience to do what I'm created to do, and everybody else can deal with their response to that. It's a wonderful thing. I actually embrace it. Can you imagine being responsible for somebody's eternal fate? I don't want to be saddled with that responsibility. Not at all. So I'll ride around in the Truthmobile. People will take pictures, laugh and chuckle and make fun of. Or perhaps they'll find the most important truth, be born of the Spirit, set free from a life of their own self-effort and self-pleasure, and actually find the true purpose and meaning of what this is all about. It's a test. And it proves that apart from divine intervention, man is utterly and miserably lost and without hope. So I don't think there's a whole lot more I should say right now. Plus my right arm is getting a little bit tired from holding the camera. So what I'm going to say is thank you for your public and private encouragement. And this is Robert Forsch with the truth about everything. If you think I've missed something, like I've said multiple times in this recording, or this broadcast, feel free to reach out and let me know what you think I should maybe be aware of. Let's see. So now when we have watch how the lighting changes, what we're able to see. Testable, repeatable reality. That's the way it works. So my closing shot. Yeah, let's give that a shot. Hey, thank you so much. This is Robert Forsch with the truth about everything.